So there's the information. Let's bring a few attorneys in now. We have Amanda Makki here, David Gelman, and former federal prosecutor Doug Burns. Thank you all for coming on. Sure. I want to start with Doug Burns. You've been a part of this conversation all morning long with us. We assumed that we may find out this verdict today. That indeed did happen. Deliberations for a little over a couple hours, at least today, an hour yesterday. Guilty on all 3 counts. Talk to us about this, because it appears now, through the conversation we had earlier, that there will be a next step. There will be an appeals process.
Well, of course. Usually a fast verdict is not guilty, so that's interesting. There's a bit of an exception, which shows you how strong the case was. I mean, you had his own memoir, you know, laying out all the drug problems. You had emails, texts, family members, etc. Abilal did a very commendable job trying to the death, argue that it's the day you bought it. That's not the law. It's around the time. One quick clarification, because people jump in, oh, he's going to appeal right away. No, no, no. You have to wait until you're sentenced and the judgment of sentence and conviction is entered. Then you file your notice of appeal.
Quick follow-up on that. Would he have any sort of probation meeting in the meantime, as we saw with the former president?
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to set up a meeting to do what in federal court they call the PSR, pre-sentence report. And it's the same thing, essentially. Finances, employment history, criminal history, family background, et cetera.
Okay. We'll go to David on this. And like we said, we don't know the details of when sentencing might be or what it could look like, but we've learned that it could be up to 25 years in prison, a fine of up to $750,000. David, just wanted to get your reaction to the guilty verdict.
Emma, color me shocked. I'm not surprised whatsoever. Frankly, I'm actually surprised that it took this long. The only reason it did, is my opinion, is because we were in Delaware, hometown cooking for him. So that's the only reason I think this took so long. Like Doug said, usually quick verdicts do mean that you're going to have a not guilty. But again, the evidence was just so overwhelming here that you have to be like Stevie Wonder, just blind to not see what happened. I don't believe that Hunter Biden is going to be getting off scot-free unless Joe Biden, the president, will pardon him. He's going to definitely do some prison time for this. Now, the interesting thing is going to be his federal trial coming in California in the fall. This will definitely impact that. Will they accept a plea deal from that? Because now his sentencing guidelines, meaning whether he is going to be doing more prison time, could escalate tremendously, because now he is going to be a convicted felon in the federal system. That's something we really need to watch out for.
And again, to Amanda Makki, your overall thoughts of this coming in, 3 hours of deliberation roughly between yesterday and today, coming to a guilty verdict. There are many that question, that said, hey, this is the Biden's home court. He brought in his entire family yesterday. You've got 12 jurors that are all from that area, seemingly knowing the Bidens or very familiar with them, as they have a home there. But still, again, it appeared that the sympathies strategy, if you will, that did not play on this panel of 12 jurors.
I mean, look, the overwhelming evidence was there in favor of the prosecution, and I think everyone knew that all along, including Mr. Abilal. So he did the best that he could. I think he employed a Bill Clinton-esque term of what is when he said, what is actual drug use? And so I think it just became kind of silly. And these jurors are still people who have to hold their head up high and make a decision that they believe is the correct decision. And obviously, with the overwhelming evidence here, it was the correct decision. The Bidens did everything that they could, to include having Jill Biden, the First Lady, go to Europe, come back, and sit in the courthouse again, and traveling all across the globe to be there for their son, including all the family members, everyone that they could. But it just wasn't going to be enough to overwhelm the jury when you have so much evidence that is going against Hunter. And the videos were so damning. The book, in his own words, so damning. It was pretty much an open and shut case.
And we discussed this earlier, Doug, but we didn't hear from Hunter Biden directly, at least in real time, because he didn't take the stand. Would we see his attorneys call on Hunter in any sort of appeals process?
No, he absolutely could not testify, for a slightly different reason than some people have been articulating, which is, that's your laptop, that's yours, it's legitimate. Oh my God, that would have been devastating. Vis-a-vis